Hi, I'm Diane Schoemperlen, author of This Is Not My Life, a memoir of love, prison, and other complications. My book has been shortlisted for the RBC Taylor Prize. I called it This Is Not My Life for a number of different reasons. One is that it's intended to be ironic because, of course, it is my life that I'm writing about. I also felt that the word life resonates in the title because he was serving a life sentence. And in prison, life means something different than it does out here. As it happened, that phrase, I found it in a novel by Colin McCann called Let the Great World Spin. So the actual quote from his book appears as an opening epigraph. This is not my life. These are not my cobwebs. This is not the darkness I was designed for. So that's how the title came about. It also is important because although what was happening during those years was, of course, my life, it was not any kind of life that I had ever expected to be living. Well, I think the way I phrased it in the book is what was I thinking? Because looking back on it all, I asked that question of myself, just as I felt that other people were going to ask it of me too. I mean, that's a hard question to answer. I loved him. And I really did believe that together we could be happy and that the last part of his life could be the best part of his life. And again, in retrospect, I realized that I was wrong. But I am also a very stubborn person, as I said in the book. I'm stubborn and I'm not a quitter. And so I was determined for a long time that if we kept trying, we really could make the relationship work. And it took me a very long time to realize that that was not true, that I had to walk away. By and large, I have had really positive feedback. I've had a lot of emails and comments from women who either have had a relationship with an inmate. Far more women have had relationships with inmates than you might realize. I've been a little surprised myself. But most of the women that I have heard from, it's a difficult, emotionally abusive relationship that I've written about, and that can happen anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the prison context. So my writing about that kind of relationship has been very meaningful to a lot of people. The reason why I didn't write very much about Shane's actual crime, the murder that he committed in 1981, was largely for privacy reasons, but also because although that was the thing that ended him up where he was, it was not part of my story. So what I'm telling in the book is my story from my point of view. Of course, I had to put something in about the murder that he had committed, but I didn't want that to become the main focus of the book. This is not a murder story. Being nominated for something like this is an all-round wonderful thing. I mean, there's not one bad thing about being nominated for this, and the fact that this is the first memoir I've ever written and that it was so hard to write, that makes it especially wonderful to me to be on this short list. If I was lucky enough to win the RBC Taylor Prize, I would probably use the money to do some repairs on my house. There's a long scene in the book where my basement is severely flooded and the roof leaks in 3 different rooms because the insurance money didn't cover everything, even though that happened 5 years ago now. I still haven't been able to get my ceilings repaired, so that's what I would do with the money. I'm Diane Schoemperlen, author of This Is Not My Life, a memoir of love, prison, and other complications.